It's time for the Access of Easy podcast, the weekly technology digest that keeps you ahead of the curve. Brought to you by EasyDNS.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Access of Easy podcast. My name is Joey. I'm here as always with my co-host, Len. Buddy, how are you doing today? What's going on?
Overworked, underpaid, but I'm okay. How about you, Joey?
I'm great. I had a busy day. I'm going away this weekend, so I'm trying to get things in order here. Just finished recording a show for the CBP from 7 to about 8:15, and now here we are doing AOE, which is great. So look, this is the audio companion to the weekly newsletter. You can get it on accessofeasy.com. Sign up. You get a discount on your next purchase with EasyDNS, which is great. And of course, Len, like every other show, we got to start with the quote of the week. Now, you're going to have to wait till next week to see if you won last week's, okay? That's coming straight from the top, straight from the big cheese himself. This week's quote: most of the greatest evils that man has inflicted upon man have come through people feeling quite certain about something which, in fact, was false. So you know the rules: no Googling, no cheating, don't pervert the process, okay? Put it.
I can assume that that's not a recent quote, because if it was, it'd be person and person versus man and man.
Interesting. That's good.
Yeah.
Hope they didn't want to monetize this video on YouTube because we just threw it out the window. Here we go.
No, that's legitimate, because that type of jargon existed pre-dawn, like what we have here in terms of being more aware. And yes, we're definitely more aware now. But anyways, it looks like you're tired over there. Wake up, buddy. Wake up. Because I am awake. Okay, let's go right into it, because YouTube, they censored an Australian politician's maiden speech because it was too spicy for their delicate sensibilities. For those unaware what is a maiden speech, it is the first speech that is given by an elected official when they enter into the Westminster type parliament. And so a member of parliament or legislature, they enter, and when they first are elected, they do this, what is called a maiden speech. Now, I actually know somebody who was pissed off because it was called a maiden speech and it was a female doing it, but that's something for another time. Anyways, this speech here was done by Mr. John Ruddick, and he, with his maiden speech, was very critical of his government's handling of COVID-19, the pandemic, and its relationship with big tech companies. YouTube apparently didn't take kindly to this maiden speech, and well, they deleted the video. That's essentially it. They went right to it and said, you know what, it's not allowed on our platform. So Buddy, getting off to a great start with his maiden speech, he got eliminated right from YouTube. But without getting into too much detail, and with the risk of getting AOE booted from YouTube, we don't want that to happen. Some people may argue that, don't want to say who, but some people may argue that Australia was implementing very, very strict measures, very strict rules to prevent the spread of a virus. The images of quarantines is probably still very fresh in the minds of many people, those quarantine camps. And it was all just, mostly affiliated with Australia. So Mr. Ruddick's criticism just didn't cut mustard with YouTube. But you have to understand, YouTube is a private, centralized company, so they could do whatever they want, but people can vote with their eyeballs. If they don't like what is going on in whatever platform, they could easily choose and watch or put their eyeballs on a different platform. It's just too bad that this topic or this content was too spicy for YouTube. And well, let's see if we're going to last much longer on this platform, but we'll see if that's the case. But either way, if people are not happy with this, they could just vote with their eyeballs. And that's one way to send a message to these companies. Unfortunately, though, I don't think many people are going to do that because they're drawn into what's ever on these services.
As much as I agree with the takes of the new elected official, there was obviously some bungling of COVID policy, bungling of testing and things related to that. I don't think that's really controversial anymore. I also don't think it's beyond anyone's expectation, especially an elected official, that if they say something that's not really, beyond the pale, it should be allowed to stay up. Now I'm going to hit you with one more beyond. It's not beyond belief that YouTube would take this down. They take all that stuff down. They've taken all that stuff down for 3 years. The thing that I would mention here is that Rumble obviously is an option. There's other video streamers that you could look at. But the big thing for me is that the more things that are censored by companies that are basically just, state stenographers and water carriers for first world governments, the more obvious it is to me that there's cracks in the armor of these governments, cracks in the armor of the narrative, cracks in the armor of the regime. And ultimately, I think, Len, cracks in the armor of the fabric of society that's really held together by this kind of central power structure. I look at the number of things that are being taken offline now. And I think of that line from 1984, right? You were told not to believe what was happening in front of your eyes. It was the, greatest trick the state ever pulled or whatever. I'm definitely mixing my quotes there, but this is a great example of this. You know what happened. You lived through it. We all lived through it. We all saw it. It was on Twitter. It was on Instagram. It was on the news. It was everywhere. Everyone saw the camps. Everyone saw the mandates. Everyone lived all that stuff. So, I would say to people who are saying, well, this is just about COVID-19. It is not, my friends. This is a sign that more and more of the narrative is showing its weakness. And I would expect this to continue and to accelerate as well. I think that's a fair bet.
Yeah, keep accelerating. Anyways, let's talk about Microsoft. And they stopped a Chinese cyber attack, but unfortunately, it may be too late, as the attackers may have gotten some juicy intel on Western European government's dirty laundry. So the hackers who Microsoft have dubbed, well, we got to rate this one. This is pretty sad. Storm 0558. I'm going to give it 0.558 on the scale. This is pretty bad.
I'm with you. It's like a random Reddit name generator.
That's a really good analogy here. So yeah. Anyways, so Storm 0558, they were apparently trying to steal sensitive data from government agencies in Western Europe, and they were successful in gaining access to email accounts, but Microsoft was able to detect the attack and to put steps and take them to mitigate the damage. But, once that happens, it's too late to mitigate the damage. It sounds pretty damning to me. So the hackers are believed to be working for the Chinese government. And, the Chinese government has a long history of cyber espionage. This latest attack is a reminder that no organization is immune to an attack, even those running products from very large organizations that are well-funded like Microsoft. And they might have a lot of resources, but they can't stop them all. According to the Washington Post, the attackers also broke into a number of unclassified email accounts. And I wonder if they managed to get any new text from Hunter from this new thing, or maybe from his crew, but I'm not sure. And I don't know what's Hunter's last name. I'm just throwing, a very random name out there. But apparently access was gained through Outlook web access in Exchange Online and Outlook.com by forging authentication tokens. How long before they put this stuff on a blockchain and this stuff will really go off the rails at that point? But the moral of the story here is really there's no software out there that is immune to an attack. And Microsoft is a monolith of a company, and they have very large tentacles that are reaching into many homes, many businesses. They have the resources you'd expect to close off a lot of these attacks, but they cannot, because there's always going to be a new way to attack these very large systems. These programs are so complicated that you just cannot close all the holes out there. So looks like these hackers, they may have stolen some information before Microsoft put the kibosh to this. What they stole, who knows?
Agreed. The web access for Outlook is kind of a weird thing. So the token system, you sign in and it wants to send sometimes it wants to send a text message. Other times it wants to use other means to authenticate your username. I think the thing I would kind of point to here is why are all these stories, it's not just this one, but like many other stories about phishing, data breaches, falsified authentication tokens or other means through which you can sign into a secure server, secure environment. It's always in the browser. It's never in the app. And so I don't understand why, I know you're not a Microsoft guy, but certainly that Microsoft suite of apps, if you have like a professional environment, use the apps, man. There's no reason for you to be using the browser. The browser opens you up to a lot of vulnerabilities that the app just does not, especially if you get the app from a trusted source. So I'm not sure why this continues to happen, especially, Len, in governments. Why? Why does this happen in governments over and over and over again? Surely they know better, or they have the resources to do better. And yet every week it seems like we have a new breach from a first world government. So, yet another one to add to the boneyard here.
You're right. I mean, it's usually used the browser. I've never heard the Microsoft pinball game get attacked any which way. So I got to give credit whoever programmed that.
It's one of the best cybersecurity out there.
The Minesweeper is rock solid. Anyways, so let's talk about Nostra and Damus. And we've been talking about them quite a bit in the past little while, both on our show and on the Axis of Easy, where Apple, they've been turning their back on Damus and the developers over there by not allowing them to proceed with having their software on the App Store. So they found a way of getting around this, something called Zapple. And I love this. This ongoing saga between Apple and Damus might officially be coming to an end as a result of this. And this is all to do with Nostra. And for those who aren't aware, Nostra is a decentralized platform that has many different features that you could build upon it, but one of which that is most popular these days is a Twitter-like system, Twitter-like platform. So anyways, that's what Nostra is. So a pair of independent developers came up with a workaround that would allow users to send zaps, which is tiny amount of Bitcoin, on posts simply by commenting with a lightning emoji. And this allows then you could send a zap whenever you like a particular post and send a particular small amount of Bitcoin to a end user. So this is independent of the Damus iPhone app, and it has no affiliation whatsoever to Damus whatsoever. And so this is a claim that ultimately Apple is powerless now because they can't stop them. Emojis, they're everywhere. Can't stop the emojis. So this is the cat is out of the bag, and that's it. So there's no way to stop this thing. This even has the support of Jack Dorsey, who tweeted that, quote, "Zaps always find a way." And he's right in that. And Jack Dorsey is a big proponent of Nostra. So users who want to find a new service, this type of service, they have to simply provide their Nostra public key. That's the NPub, an emoji, and a link to a wallet. That's how you use the Zapple system. And so the battle between Apple and Bitcoin, this is likely going to continue, but it's clearly showing that the rebels that we're going to continue to win because we find ways around these things. And using a lightning emoji, that's a really interesting way of doing it. Just giving them the middle finger. That's what that seems like to me. It's so cool stuff by these developers.
As President 45 said, we're winning so much, your head's going to spin. And I don't know what to even say about this. What can Apple do about that? Like, let's just, I don't want to dwell too much on the story because it basically sounds, to your point, like it's done. But I mean, what is the likelihood in your view that they just take the app off the App Store for some other reason? Clearly, it's not zero. What is it? Is it 30%, 20%? They say that you're skirting the rules on purpose. I am sure that there's some TOS violation going on using these emojis in this way, very publicly so, by the way. It's not like it's some kind of clandestine operation of secret handshakes and whatnot. Everyone's talking about it, including Dorsey. So what are the odds Apple just says, you want to play with fire? You're going to get burned here. We're going to take you down. What do you think?
Well, with respect to this is zero. And I think that they've almost eliminated any chances of getting eliminated or removed from the App Store. Because
you think?
Yeah, because this is going outside the whole App Store. And you're just simply providing your NPub and your wallet address and an emoji to an outside entity that's outside Apple, outside Nostra, outside everything. And it's so if they want to start doing this and say to to Damus that it's not allowed, that would be unprecedented. Because why? Now they're doing nothing wrong. Somebody else, an independent developer who happened to, by the way, it works for or is also developers of Mutiny Wallet, which they're doing some really cool stuff for Lightning, but that's a topic for another time. So yeah, my answer to your question is I say it's zero. It's going to stay.
I say we're talking about this again inside of 4 weeks, and it's because the app was removed from the App Store.
Let's see what happens. So 4 weeks from now, we'll see middle of August.
Write it down. Listener, viewer, write it down.
Let's talk about Meta and their new Threads app. And apparently this is a privacy nightmare. The app itself apparently is collecting a lot of data about users, including the browsing history, the search history, physical location, employment, union membership,
fitness,
health status, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and really all this information, none of this data is necessary for the app to function in its form. Why they're collecting this? Well, it's going to be used for targeting ads to end users. What's worse is that Threads, which is what I was mentioning, comes from Meta. They're forcing users to integrate this with Instagram as well. So Meta is now going to be able to track you on both of the platforms, Threads and Instagram. So they have the ability to do it. I mean, it's centralized, they could do it, but people could vote with their fingers, I guess, in this case, and go somewhere else. So if you're looking for a private and communication way, private and secret way to communicate, look for somewhere else, because this is not an app for you. This is a privacy nightmare. So to give the rundown, the app collects a wide range of sensitive data, as I mentioned, browser history, search history, physical location, and so forth. None of the information is really needed. So why are they taking this? Well, it's to target ads for you, and it's forcing integration between that and Instagram. If you're if you're big on privacy, you should avoid Threads altogether. I haven't even logged in. I don't even know what it looks like, and I'm probably going to stay away after reading this story. I have no desire to use it whatsoever. Nostra scratching all my itches these days. So, yeah, I'm going to be a Threads, not really refugee, but I will never step foot in those haunted lands ever.
Well, I'm not going to ask you about where you're getting all these itches, but I will say that I have a Threads account because I'm a millennial and have an Instagram account, and I'm going to have to wear that badge of shame on my Instagram account for the rest of my days now. It links to my Threads right under my avatar because I signed up for an account the first day just to see what it was like. And by the way, even if it didn't collect any data, Len, it is the most useless piece of shit app I've ever seen. There's no feed for the accounts you only want to follow. It's the algorithm ghetto, as Hervoye from TNT Radio likes to say. It's only the stuff they want you to see. It doesn't matter who you follow on Instagram. It doesn't matter who follows you on Instagram. That's only part of the equation. It's Ellen DeGeneres and that guy who does car karaoke and every other just dumb moron puppet that you've tried to avoid on Twitter and everywhere else in your life for the last decade. They're all just shoved in your face. Forget it. It's done. I will just add to this one other thing that we talked about last week. Zuckerberg is an incompetent operator and product developer. He is incompetent. He proves it over and over and over again. He either steals from or buys all his competition. He tries to do it again here. And even though Twitter is like suffering and kind of staggered in a way it hasn't been before, he still managed to muck this up. So I don't think that anyone really can raise a doubt about this anymore. He's a clown. People say that Elon is distracted. Zuckerberg's posting topless pics with jiu-jitsu guys now. What about Zuckerberg? He launches this garbage app and posts a shirtless pic and everyone's on his jock. Come on. What are we talking about? This guy's a clown. He is a clown. He shows it over and over again.
He's worth billions. So
he's a clown. He's a ZERP phenomenon. He's a ZERP phenomenon.
He may be a clown, but he's worth a heck of a lot of money, and he has the ability to do a lot of things as a result. So good for him. He was at the right place at the right time and took advantage of that. So anyways, let's talk about something else that is very troubling. It's AI, and it looks like updates to Google's terms and conditions. They say that, quote, all public available information, end quote, are now fair game to train their AI. Now the AI, AI is, this is a big thing. We should have Kamala come on and talk about AI, give her spin. But anyways, Google is getting its claws on your online data. And remember, they have access to so much information. So they're not just scraping your search history, your browsing habits anymore. Now they also want to mine your social media posts, your blog articles, and even your music playlist to train their AI models. So if you're not careful, Google could be using your personal information to create a smarter, more invasive version of itself. But don't worry, they're not doing it for evil. That's what they say. They're just trying to make their product better, or so they say. The truth is, we really don't know what Google is up to over here with all the data that they're going to be using to train their AI. But one thing is for certain, they're not going to stop collecting data anytime soon. So what can you do? One thing, look at the fine print. I mean, nobody does that, but we should be more cognizant of the fact of what's written into fine print of the privacy policy. Then if you look at it, you may decide for yourself if you're comfortable with actually using their products and putting anything online, because it will be damning stuff. When people are more aware of what we're signing up to, they may change their habits. But in the end, really, a lot of people are not willing to trade privacy for convenience. They'd rather be having more convenient than being a little more private, which is too sad. And as a result, Google's AI is going to get even more smart as a result, or more aware, because of everything that is being posted out there. And so going through browser history, blog posts, music playlists, I don't know, man. That's pretty crazy stuff. But I don't know. Do what you got to do, man. Use a platform that is good for your privacy, that respects your privacy and your freedom. Don't use this garbage.
Also, just like why do you need a blog, Anon? Like, are you an angsty teenager? Just go on Twitter and post Pepe memes if you got a problem.
It's going to troll your social media posts too, though.
Who cares? You have take all the Pepes you want. Maybe you can put together a competent set of memes there. Some collaborative efforts between real I and AI. I don't know. To me, this AI stuff, and like I've tried to use it a couple of times. Like I have GPT 3.5 and 4 on my phone because I have a paid seat through a connection that I have, and like they're just not that good. I sent you a thing the other day that I won't get into that you and I were talking about. And it was like, okay, but
I thought it was good.
Okay, but couldn't you have just Googled that? Like, couldn't you have just Googled that? You probably could.
Perhaps.
And probably got something just as good without paying for it. And so, like, what are we talking about with the AI? What is the AI?
It's from the same source.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it's so hard that I need AI to answer it, the AI is not going to give me a good answer anyway. So what am I doing? Like, I'm just wasting my time. I'm doing things twice and 3 times. You know what I'm saying? I think this is like, maybe in its infancy still and has a ways to go before it's kind of this mind-bending, world-altering technology. But for now, it's just shits and giggles trying to get it to say nice things about right-wing politicians or make dirty jokes, right? Erotic fan fiction about Elon and Zuckerberg mud wrestling or whatever. Like, this thing doesn't do a lot for productive people yet. It may at some point, but all the same, these kinds of stories, scraping all your information. I don't know. There's a lot of useless information out there. If you want useless, responses, then that's how you do it. But I would prefer if they try to do a targeted approach here. Maybe scrape, I don't know. I was going to say Wikipedia, but that's not a good source. And then I was going to say journal articles, but those are not good sources.
No, not even reviewed by the same 5 people.
It's all just fake, baby.
It's a circle jerk, right?
Anyway. we're all toast. We're all toast. That's the last story. So that's it. Enjoy the rest of your night and weekend in the algorithm ghetto. We'll see you next week on Access of Easy. Don't forget about the quotes. Sorry about that. That's just a mistake on the production side here. So we'll talk to you guys next week, same time, same place. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Take care.